Right, I believe we're good to go. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We're bang on 12 o'clock. I'll just allow a few more moments for other people to join. We have quite a number of people that registered for this webinar this afternoon. But while we're doing that, I might start off with a little bit of housekeeping and a welcome. So firstly, welcome and thank you very much for joining us. By way of housekeeping, whilst we have over 300 people that registered for this webinar this afternoon, which is a fantastic number, some of you use LEAP, some of you use Settify, some of you use both. Obviously, Jamie and I can't see you. So if you've got any questions, please pop them in and we'll go through them at the very end. We'll also, at the end of the webinar, there'll be a brief survey. All right, we might as well kick things off. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Paul Psaltis. I'm the CEO of Settify, self-confessed legal tech nerd. I've been at Settify for about 4 years and in and around the legal tech industry for close to 20. Prior to that, I practiced a long time ago. Now, before we dive into the presentation, I'd like to introduce my esteemed colleague, Jamie Ford. So Jamie, if you'd like to unmute and just introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jamie Ford. I am a senior sales executive at LEAP Family Law. I have been at LEAP now for over 8.5 years, and I joined the family law team about 2 years ago. So for those who don't know, LEAP Family Law was launched about 2 years ago, and essentially we have created a team solely focused on the area of family law. So it includes developers, support, multiple lawyers, and also former Justice Gary Watts. And the team's whole focus is to create a product designed specifically for family lawyers. And one of those products is the integration with Settify, which we are very excited to show you today.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Wonderful introduction. Now, what I'll do is I'll just go through a brief introduction of what Settify does, who we are, what we do, how we integrate with LEAP. I'll do a brief demonstration, then Jamie will do a demonstration and we'll go through the Q&A at the end. So I won't let it become too much a death by PowerPoint. I know most of you are here to see the products and see how they integrate. So that's what we will focus on. But just in a very brief synopsis, the way that Settify works, Settify is used by over 500 legal practices, predominantly family law, both here in Australia and in other regions. Settify is what we call client intake. So a button that is added to your website where then prospective and existing clients can go through, complete the relevant information. The bundling and the integration with LEAP works, where as you can see just in the flow here, the information is in Settify. You can then send it to LEAP and it will create that matter in LEAP for you. Look, LEAP doesn't need any introduction. It is the global leader both in family law, practice management software and practice management software in general. So I'll leave it at that and let Jamie sing the praises of LEAP for you. I always love, before I get into a demonstration, just going through the kind of how did we get here. So the way that Settify was created was by two founders who have since moved on, but I always like to pay homage to Athol Bertley and Max Patterson. Both were practicing law in the family law space. And when they were junior lawyers, particularly Max, he tells this story where he was told by the managing partner to go and meet with prospective clients, existing clients, and fill out a clipboard and get all of the necessary information. Now, the story that I like to tell is when I was a junior a long time ago, probably before all of this technology existed, I was often tasked with doing the same thing, sitting across someone. I had no idea who they were, what their story was. And a lot of the time when it was in the family law practice area, they were really reliving their trauma when they were going through, just retelling their situation again and again and again. And I like to start with the real and talking about the fact that what we do at Settify and why this integration and bundling with LEAP is so important is because Settify not only provides beautiful intake technology for practicing solicitors, but also for their prospective and existing clients. And you can see the statistic in the middle here that more than 70% of family law clients are overwhelmed during the course of their matter. And so what we really focus on at Settify is the real, because we're dealing with real people who are having real issues, dealing with practitioners who are dealing with those real issues as well. And so we're all about helping people, whether it's people with families, practitioners, and all of those that are involved in the practice of family law. And so one thing that we really focus on is meeting the needs of your clients. And so the modern client, when I talk to my parents or people outside of legal technologies to kind of what I do, a lot of them, especially in the older generations, will say, well, I've been using the same practitioner for eons. They've since retired. What do I do now to go and find a new practitioner? Now, anyone probably under the age of 50 will just Google people's services, and you've got a very finite period of time from when they land on your website to them deciding if they want to engage you as a solicitor. And you can see here that about the effective onboarding on this slide, but also the most important thing on a website with the modern client is the level of responsiveness of your website. That's really, really important, having a good, clean website, easy calls to action, how easy it is for them to interact on your website and how much they like working with you. And of course, the advice that allows them to make an informed and educated decision. And here at Settify, we feel that we play a very important part in all of those things. And the statistics that you can see here, we collaborated with the Separation Guide to get some of these statistics. And also this is from our own data, where the way that people engage websites, they engage after hours, they engage on weekends, they use mobile devices. And that's the beauty of having something like Settify embedded on your website. Then obviously taking that to the next level is having it integrated with the leading practice management system, both here in Australia and abroad. And so if we just, before we jump into a demonstration, talking about the legal complexities of family law and the landscape. So they are becoming more complex. There's a massive spike in acrimonious matters. You can see at the bottom of this slide here, the number of couples experience acrimonious matters has skyrocketed, particularly since the COVID period. The way that casework needs to be approached is a lot less adversarial. Both the courts, practitioners themselves, for those that go to a lot of seminars, other webinars, they often talk about being less adversarial, more collaborative. So things like mediation, alternative dispute resolution methods are becoming more commonplace, and essentially everybody working together to achieve a common goal when going through this very complex practice area. What I haven't put on here, obviously, is the rise of family violence. And I know that practitioners and those around them have to deal with that as well. It's a very challenging and complex practice area. So here at Settify, what we are trying to do and kind of what our why and our mission statement is to provide the best experience for your clients so they can connect with those that are experts in that particular field. And our main emphasis is on family law. So what I might do now, if you bear with me, I'll just end this slide and jump straight into what Settify intake looks like. So for those of you that have Settify, you have a Get Started online or a Get Started with us on your homepage. This is obviously just a variation or a demo account, if you will, where you can see here there's a Get Started. It's very easy to get this embedded. What Settify also does is we can provide an explainer video so your prospective clients receive an understanding of the way that Settify works and how it is trying to help them. But what we've also found is almost 4/5, actually over 4/5 of people that start using the Settify intake will go on and complete it, go through to the very end. And so you receive quite a lot of information before you meet with them so you can have that brilliant first meeting. So what type of family law issue is it? Let's say separation. Just explains privacy. Obviously, some people, particularly with the amount of data breaches that are happening out there, want to make sure their data is secure, and their data is 100% secure with Settify. Are you currently married? And of course, it gives you the top 3 most common responses, and then if they're not sure. Depending on how they enter the information, will vary the output down here as well. So we make it very easy. You can see it's plain, easy to understand English as they go through this. Maybe they're thinking we may separate, maybe they have separated, maybe it's just a preparation. What we often find is a lot of people complete the intake outside of hours, often probably when everyone is asleep, curled up on the couch with a glass of wine. Maybe they're just wanting to assess their options. So what is your spouse's first name? Let's just say it's David. Have you got any children with David? And again, this is another example. If you do, you can pop in the child's information. If not, if you have children from other relationships, etc. So let's say that there is a child, Frankie, who's aged 4. We're not adding any more kids, and we don't have children from other relationships. So we'll continue here. This amicability slider is incredibly popular because what it allows people to do is to let you know that, yeah, things are pretty good. I think we all know, for those of us that have been in and around family law for a long time, it's usually around here. If things are very poor, we say call the police. But we actually find, in our data suggests that the amicability of most separations lie around here. Things are pretty bad or things aren't great. What best describes your financial situation? Again, you can see here that it's easy to complete in the first instance. Do any of these? Most people select they'd like to wrap things up as quickly and amicably as possible. What it then does is it provides your prospective client or existing client, if you've invited them to use Settify, with what we call a divorce pathway. So it gives them not legal advice, but an understanding and a direction. Because again, if you've read that separation guide and then the percentage of people that are confused through this process, it gives people just some education, understanding, and confidence in what the next steps will entail. So Settify is not about replacing practitioners. It's about working with you, using this technology to allow people to come and meet with you for the very first time and have an idea of what their matter will look like, but also so you have an idea of what their matter looks like. So when you meet with them, it's about their matter, not reliving, just getting all of that initial information again. Now, from here, they can click to book a meeting with you directly, or what they can then do is complete the more detailed information. So this takes anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes, depending on the detail that they provide you. They can come back and complete it at any time. You can actually nudge them to complete it at any time as well. And for those people that phone in or email in, you can invite them to complete the Settify intake. Now, I won't complete all of this right now, just for the purposes of saving time, as they like to say on TV. This is one we prepared earlier. So if they've completed all of the relevant information, this is the Settify. We call it the admin screen, or the law firm login screen, where you can see all of the relevant matters where people have completed the intake. Now, I'd like to go into this matter of Jane Sorensen. It will open up a copy of the brief, the separation pathway. So it's known as an executive summary. So this executive summary can also be emailed in a PDF format directly to whoever needs to read it before the meeting. So this is what it looks like in PDF. You can see here that all of the information that they've completed is displayed, easy to read, easy to understand. If your prospective or client has an understanding around their assets, liabilities, estimates, it will have all of that information at hand on this PDF. And so what that then means is your first meeting is about their actual family law issue, rather than going through all of this information. So everybody's educated before that first meeting. Then, of course, what you can do from here is send this information over to LEAP and create a LEAP matter. I won't show LEAP. I'll leave that to Jamie. She's the expert at LEAP, not me. But other things you can do is obviously pop in some notes. You've got some other factual information when the client was invited for a meeting or to actually complete Settify. Some other great documents that Settify produces is, and you can easily download them, but they will be available on the LEAP matter for those that use the bundling and integration, is what we call an assets and liabilities table. And this is a very popular feature of Settify, because what it allows you to do early on in the piece is to have a snapshot of essentially assets, liabilities, where the confidence that the client has in the value. You can amend these if you've met with the client and wish to change these, and you can use this information in the matter leading up, or in the correspondence leading up to the mediation or ADR process. It also produces documents which assist you with the creation of your balance sheet and so on, and you can see those available in LEAP shortly. Another very powerful feature of Settify is the invitation feature. I touched on it earlier. Let's say that someone called in, or they've emailed in, or they're just a recurring client and you'd like to invite them to use Settify. So they don't necessarily have to come in via your website. You can proactively, picking the practice area, select the person, and I'll just send this to myself. Just bear with my typing, and then you can pick the lawyer, the appointment date, the appointment time. Let's say that it's online and you can send a Zoom link and things like that. And what you can do is you can preview what this looks like. You can add your own text if you wish to as well, and then you can send the invite and fire it off. So that's a nice summary, just in a very brief period, of the way that Settify works. Then from this screen, once you hit send to Leap, the information will push over to Leap. So what I might do now to make things nice and easy is stop sharing my screen and allow Jamie to share her screen so you can see what things looks like in the world of Leap. There we go.
Thank you, Paul. Just confirming you can see my Leap matter.
I can, yes.
Great. So yes, once that information has been sent to Leap, a lot of you on this webinar will be familiar with this screen, but this is the Leap matter. And what you'll see is beautifully that data that the client entered has pushed through and created this new matter. Now, the great thing about Leap, as you will know, is Leap is matter specific. So a divorce matter has been created and the information our client entered has been populated into those fields. So you'll see here on the left-hand side that information has pulled through. Also, what happens on the right-hand side in the correspondence area is a Settify folder has been created. So this folder is created for you. And if we jump into that folder, you can then see those documents that Paul showed have pulled through seamlessly. So we have the balance sheet that we looked at, the property pool, and we also have a Word and PDF version of that Settify intake. So the data beautifully pulls through and is available for you to now start working on this matter. That is from the Leap side. Now, anything else you want to add, Paul, before we jump to questions?
I'll probably do a little bit of a wrap up and a conclusion, and then we can jump to Q&A. I can see the question and answers button keep lighting up, which is great. We wanted to allow at least 20 to 30 minutes at the end of the presentation for questions, because there's a lot of people here and I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions. So what I might do, if you could kindly stop the share, Jamie, I'll just jump back into the slide deck. Thank you. See more questions popping in. So let me just back up and share my screen here, and then we'll continue. There we go. And so for those of you that have both Leap and Settify, or for those of you interested in one or the other, Settify now comes bundled with Leap Family Law. This is incredibly exciting. It's something we've only started to offer in the last few months. We wanted to roll it out gradually to ensure that everything was working. And now we're doing a presentation that we're co-running because it's running along quite swimmingly. So Settify is included in your Leap subscription. So there's no extra fees, no hidden costs, which is fabulous because you can start using Settify with Leap very, very quickly. From the Settify end, if you're already using Settify and you'd like to get up and running with Leap, I'll let Jamie talk about kind of the lead-in times for getting Leap implemented. For those using Leap or not, if you want to get up and running with Settify, we can move pretty quickly. Our aim is to get you from go to woe, so live with Settify on your website within 10 business days or a couple of weeks. We can do that sooner depending on your level of responsiveness. Of course, depending on your size of practice as well. Larger practices tend to have marketing teams that want specific fonts, colors, logos, etc. Smaller practices tend to be a little more nimble, and we can get you up and running as soon as you respond to our questionnaires and things like that. So thank you very much for listening to our presentation. I know it was a relatively short and sweet one, but the beautiful thing about Settify is it isn't overly complicated. What I showed you is how the intake works in a nutshell. But of course, for those that use Settify, see a lot of value in it. And that's why Settify is so popular in the market here and abroad. What I might do is now open it up for Q&A. I might just leave this screen up. So if people wish to contact Jamie directly, actually, I'll reshare it again at the end. I'll just stop share so everybody can see us. And Emma, if there's any questions in the Q&A, Jamie and I can go through them depending on how you direct them.
Absolutely. So I think there are many questions. One of the first ones was, and I think this has been answered, but just to reiterate, it was, is Settify something not on the normal Leap subscription? So the person's wanting to make sure that you don't need anything special. yes, Settify is available through the normal LEAP subscription, and obviously that can just flow through.
If I could just jump in quickly and add to that, Emma, apologies for interrupting. For those of you that are existing LEAP customers, you'll see Settify on the LEAP Marketplace page, but also on, if you've got LEAP running and you click on, I think it's File, up in the top left-hand corner, you'll see a button which says Send an Invite by Settify. And if you don't have Settify set up, it will send you to like a setup page, and then we'll receive a notification that you're interested in getting up and running.
And then
Correct. Sorry, Emma, for those that are non-LEAP clients, if you are interested in LEAP, we will obviously bundle this for you. So for all LEAP clients, whether you're current clients now or prospective, this will be included in your LEAP subscription if you are interested.
Excellent. So one other question was, so do we need our own Settify account first? Definitely the answer would be yes, you need to set up with Settify. So
yeah, we take every rollout, setup or installation. We look after every customer on an individual basis. So the short answer is yes.
Going back to Settify, we're being asked if you can change the wording in the intake form.
That's a fabulous question. It used to be yes. The answer now is no, not really. And the reason we decided to do that is because we have a dedicated in-house family lawyer and in-house legal team that has refined the content, which strikes the balance between conversational, informative, and educational. What we used to find in the past when we allowed people to modify the content is they would, as lawyers love to do, is significantly add to it. And what then happened is the completion rates and conversion rates dropped significantly. And then at the end of the subscription period, people would say to us things like, the feedback we're receiving from our clients is, it's too long, they don't want to read it, it's not very engaging. Then we'd see their intake and see that they've added all of this stuff. So in the first instance, Settify is provided as is, because what we've found is that really strikes the balance between getting a client in front of you and giving them an educated and informed understanding of what the next steps will be. I hope that answers the question.
Another one for you, Paul. Is the invite an invitation for the client to complete the Settify intake form?
Yes, it is. So
Yeah.
the invite essentially will be provided, and I didn't want to pop up my Outlook, but they will receive an email with a link. They click here and then they complete Settify.
Excellent. Jamie, you might be best placed to answer this one. So when sending the information from Settify to LEAP, will it create the matter from a recurring matter or a blank new matter?
That is a great question. I've seen that question pop up a few times. Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the moment it's just the matter type, and I believe we are looking at the option for recurring matters.
I do believe in the latest integration we have released it to work with recurring matters and matter templates. So I think that's only recently we've added that feature, because we have received some feedback on adding it to templates. So in that drop down that you saw in one of the screenshots, the send to LEAP, there'll be the ability to see a recurring matter as well.
Perfect. There we go. Excellent.
Question about the security of client data on Settify. So we're being asked, is that security the same as that provided by LEAP?
Short answer is yes. We actually share their services and their security services, and it's pretty locked down.
And the next question is around conflicts. So how does the intake work when someone might provide confidential information, but there is a conflict once we receive it?
Yeah, fabulous question. You can do a conflict check within Settify itself. It's probably something I should have demonstrated, given that we have a little more time. We've allocated an hour. Normally we allocate 30 minutes for these webinars. So you can do a conflict check. And if it's after the fact, you can mark the document, you can mark the prospective client as someone you can't act for. And then it removes all of the information except for the basic information of that prospective client.
Excellent. So Kelly would like to know how you send a Teams link in the invitation to the client.
Fabulous question. A really, really good one. So when you go through and create the invite, there is an option to say that this meeting will be done electronically, and then you're able to add a URL. You can actually set one up by default as well.
Brilliant.
And by URL, I mean Teams link, sorry. So a bit nerdy there.
Jamie, this question is around how do we do it with open matter recurrence? So matter recurrence templates, which contain subfolders created by the firm.
Great question. And again, that's similar to what the question was asked before in regards to reoccurring matters. So providing you have those reoccurring matters set up in Leap with your folders and documents, when you push the information through, you'll get that drop down to choose which matter type you want. And that's where you will select that reoccurring matter. So then your folder structure documents will then populate through into that new matter with the Settify folder too.
Excellent. Okay. Another question is being asked by, so what often a client thinks that they're coming in to talk about divorce, but it's actually a property settlement. Is it clear which matter the client should choose?
I'm assuming that's a Settify question.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it is. You've got the buttons at the very top where at the beginning of the intake where it says separation, property matter. If they select the wrong one, the way that the questions are framed is slightly different. The end result is similar, so it's not the end of the world. If you wish to resend them to recomplete it differently, you can do that as well.
I would also add there too, you can easily change the matter type in Leap. So if that does happen, that information pulls through. At any stage, you can change that matter type in Leap as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Jamie and Paul. We have a question about the calendar. How is the calendar integrated when they initially want an appointment? I'm assuming that the client here. And that would have to come through Settify, I assume.
Yeah, so what it does is when they wish to book an appointment, if it's the prospective or existing client, you'll receive an email notification. We are looking at things like the ability to integrate into Calendly. Obviously, in your intake at the bottom, you can have click here, and then maybe it pushes through to like a Calendly link on your website or something like that. But it won't automatically book the appointment within someone's individual calendar. On the flip side, if you send an invite with, say, we're looking forward to meeting with you at 10:30 tomorrow, it will send an email confirming that and a calendar entry that they can then accept.
Excellent. Thank you. We've got some questions now that talk about the ability to bundle Leap with other practice areas, estate matters, probate as well. So can we answer that for anyone interested outside of family law?
Yeah, sure. I'm loving all these questions, by the way. It just shows that everybody's engaged. I always am mindful that webinars they can easily get a little bit boring or a bit long in the tooth, but lots of questions is always a good sign. And to answer that question, Settify integrates with Leap. Provides essentially the data that goes through to Leap, the integration for two main practice areas, which is family law and wills. We also provide on our end custom intake for probate and estate disputes. That information doesn't push through to Leap, but we do have some Leap bundled customers that have Settify as part of their Leap subscription, use family law, wills, estate disputes, probate, but only the first two will push the matter information through. Obviously, the leading into our next question is, well, is there an ETA on the bottom two? Look, not at this stage. We're obviously working really closely with Leap to ensure that our integration for family law is the best it can be, and the same with wills and estates. And that, just due to the popularity, the take-up, and our focus is what is really keeping us busy for the short to medium term. Sometime in the future, I don't entirely know when, we'll look at those other practice areas and integrating them, but not at this stage.
Excellent, thank you. One question is being asked by a lawyer. So once the practice receives an intake form, what is the recommended way for the firm to make contact with the client?
Yeah, this is an excellent question. And for those that have eagle eyes may have seen in that sample matter of Sorensen that I used, there was a note over on the right-hand side saying, Client would prefer to be contacted via email at this stage. Please do not call due to safety concerns. It really comes down to how you manage your practice. When we speak with practices that use Settify, some people embrace it and change their standard practice methods, which are calling immediately. Some of them send an initial email after the fact. Some of them will, in that email will say things like, is it okay to call you? Do you have a preferred time? Sometimes the prospective client will make a note saying, please call me on particular times and things like that. So when it comes to engagement, it's probably a combination of whatever the prospective client indicates and whatever your practice process is.
Excellent. Jamie, we've had a question asking, where do you see Settify within LEAP?
Where do you see Settify within LEAP?
Yeah.
That's a great question. So if you go to the marketplace within LEAP, I might actually just quick share. Is that okay, guys? If I just quickly share?
Go for it. Yeah.
I think it'll be a little bit easier.
It's always easier to demonstrate.
It is. So within your LEAP home screen, you can see the menu. If we go here and click on Marketplace, this is where you can search apps that integrate with LEAP. So from the Marketplace, you can search for Settify, which we'll do up here. Once you find the app, you just want to make sure it's enabled. So you can see here we have the enable button. You could enable this, and that's where you will enable Settify. Obviously, we still need to go to Settify, Paul and the team to set up your account, but this is where we turn on the app and that integration. I hope that answers the question.
Perfect. Thank you, Jamie. Are there any requirements for the website to LEAP integration? What are the requirements?
I believe it would be to add Settify on the website. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So Paul, I think that's just, we obviously provide the client with that link, which then can be embedded on their website. That's right. There's no real requirements that I'm aware of.
Excellent. You may have answered this already, Jamie. So our firm is set up with recurring matters. Is there an option to create a new matter using our recurring templates?
Yes. So I'm glad this question keeps coming up now that Paul shared we have this recurring matter functionality, but absolutely. So again, when you get to push that information through to LEAP, you will get the option on which matter type you want to create, and that will include your recurring templates. So providing you have those recurring templates set up in LEAP, you will get that option on the drop down, and all your folders or your documents, they will be there when you create that matter.
Excellent. Okay, so we've probably following on, we've had standard folders and documents that drop into specific matter types by opening a new matter from a template. If LEAP opens a matter from the Settify intake, will these folders and documents still drop into the matter?
Yes. So again, that's the same as the recurring matters. So any templates you have set up in LEAP, if you create them through the Settify process, they will be there for you when you open your matter.
Okay. So when it creates a matter automatically, how does it nominate the persons responsible?
I think what I might do is just do steal your idea, Jamie, and do a little bit of show and tell. So I'll just share my screen, and it might be easier to just show people how that works. So just
I think it's a good idea.
Help with some of this Q&A. Obviously, people are intrigued. They've created their own bespoke matter templates and just want to make sure that it pushes through. So just bear with me. I'm just going to share my screen here. You've got the Send to LEAP button in Settify up in the top right-hand corner, and you can see here you've got the matter type. The matter type here. You've also got your recurring matters. So this is the feature I've said that we've recently added. So you've got your basic matter type, your recurring matters, obviously your state, default matter number, the staff members involved. You hit confirm, it sends it over to LEAP, and then it looks like exactly what Jamie showed you earlier.
Actually, that's really good because someone's asked, can the LEAP side of Settify be shown again? So I think...
Absolutely, more than happy to. I know that sometimes these things go, it's very hard when you're doing a presentation to know what to kind of pause and emphasize on, but this is, I'm happy to do that again. You've got the send to LEAP button. You pick the state, the matter type, whether it's a standard matter, recurring matter, the matter number. This is just one that we've added by default, and the staff involved. You hit confirm. It has a little box, little dialog box. I'll just do it again. Submitting to LEAP. It'll probably say it's already in there. So it'll say it didn't go through, but if you haven't double done it, it will double integrate it. It will say that the matter has been successfully created.
Excellent. Thank you. That's answered a couple
Pleasure.
of questions there. We've been asked if this option is available in New Zealand.
Oh, I wish I could say yes. Not at this stage. When we sent out the comms in relation to this, I received about 6 emails from our beloved New Zealand Settify users, and unfortunately not at this stage. There is some silver lining there. We're obviously aiming to do it sometime in the near future. We just want to make sure that it's right and well established in our core market, which is here in Oz, and then we'll look at expanding in NZ and other regions.
Following on from that, we've been asked if it says, do the contents, are they in compliance with family law in WA? So I guess the question is, how do
yeah. Yeah, it is, because we have a large presence in the WA market.
Yeah, and on the LEAP side too, if you open a WA matter, you're going to get all the relevant content for WA too. So that will be in there for you automatically as well.
Excellent. This question, I think, is around invitations. So can we send prospective clients a link to fill out the Settify form once they come to us, rather than initiating directly from the website?
Yes. And that's the 2 main ways in which prospective clients engage Settify are obviously organic via your website, or you can proactively send them an invite link.
So someone's asking, how do you get the website buttons up?
You reach out to us and we'll sort that out for you.
Wow, we've had so many questions.
This is the first webinar I've been a part of or participated in where there's been more questions than presentations, which I like. This is great. It's great to hear everyone's engaged. Very much appreciated.
I do love it. I love this question. Can a firm's own admin staff or own staff complete the Settify details rather than sending it to a client?
This is an excellent question, and we have a number of practices that do it on behalf of their clients, and there's a number of reasons. We have a few estates practices that use Settify, and a lot of their prospective or clients they've had for a long time are rather elderly, and they'll often complete the information for them, often with them. They'll have an iPad and they'll complete the information while the person is sitting there. So that is an option if you'd like to do it, yes.
Excellent. This is a question, Jamie, but I'm not sure. Maybe we'll see how it goes. What's the difference between Perfect Portal and Settify?
Great question. So Perfect Portal is obviously a great system. It's very much more like CRM focused in regard to like gathering leads and data on a prospective side. Settify is obviously the client intake process. So that's the difference. If anyone does kind of want to see that visually, what it's look like, please obviously reach out to me. But the easiest way to think about it is Perfect Portal, CRM, dashboards, more marketing. And Settify is very much that specific client intake.
Okay. This one's is different. Is there an option for clients to mention their payment ability? So there's a question, refinancial situation. So if the client has cash or can pay, has assets, no cash, or needs funding such as Just Fund or Plenty, or they want legal aid, is that somehow able to come through in the process?
Yeah, I skirted over the detailed intake, and that's because it becomes a little comprehensive, and I didn't want it to become death by demo this afternoon. But there are plenty of places where people can indicate those things.
Okay. Next question is, so what if the lead doesn't end up converting to a client? Can you turn the feature to instantly create a new matter off?
It's something I probably want to talk to that particular person in greater detail as to why, if they don't become a fee paying client, you don't push them through to LEAP, and you just move on and they just eventually go down the list, or they're marked as not a fee paying client. And that's essentially it.
How does a conflict check work?
Tempted to do another demo, but now I'm starting to get mindful of time and the length of the Q&A. This is great. When the information initially comes in, there's the space on that matter, or the lead screen in Settify that says, has a conflict check been run? By default, it says no. Then when you do a conflict check, you mark it as yes, and then you can type in any additional information, whether that answer is yes or no. And then you can see on that screen if a conflict check has been run.
Excellent. So there is a question about domestic violence as well as family matters. Does Settify separate or talk to that separately?
It does. There's, in the divorce, and I showed the amicability slider, there are some questions that are a little more generic, but if there are instances of family violence, there are things that can be addressed separately, yes.
Okay. So we have had a question, if there is someone here who's currently paying for both a LEAP and Settify subscription, can they cancel the Settify subscription and still get it through LEAP?
The best way to answer that question is, don't cancel your Settify subscription. Reach out to us. Let us know that you're an existing LEAP user that would like to undertake bundling. And then there's things that we can do in our system in the back end to switch that over rather than cancelling and starting over.
We've had a few questions about being able to share this presentation with other staff, or if they want, some people have had to go and come back. So just so that everyone is clear, this is being recorded and you will receive a link to the recording in the coming days. So that should answer that question. You already have a matter opened. If you already have a matter open for the client, can you move Settify into that matter?
Short answer from our end is no. So if there's an existing matter created, the integration will push through and create a new matter. At this stage, we haven't got the ability to add the Settify information to an existing matter in LEAP.
Okay. And if a client wants to select more than one option, example, property and divorce?
Not at this stage. We tend to say to people, select the one that most applies to their situation. Again, the questions don't vary too much. The end result is quite similar. So probably recommend that they just select one.
Eliza, who asked about security, is asking again, so with AI involvement, so back to security issues, so the AI involvement is secured in the same way that LEAP secures data?
Yes.
Yeah. This seems to be a similar question. We use detailed recurring matter types, i.e. property matter, husband property matter, de facto wife parenting matter, so on, such that the fields prompt the parties in the format we use. Will the information provided allow for the information to push through to the correct matter type in this circumstance?
Yeah,
Yes.
The answer is yes. I think if anyone has any more questions regarding recurring matter types, probably contact Jamie or myself. And yeah, we'll probably maybe take another couple of questions just so the webinar doesn't go for too long.
I think so. I think we've pretty much answered the majority of the various different questions. We can always come back to these afterwards and respond to the people individually, because I think a lot
I might just take one, Emma, if that's okay, just the one that I've seen, because I think it's important. Someone did answer, can we get the data entered by a client to merge with Word precedents? Absolutely. So the data pulls into your LEAP fields, which then populates into your forms, your precedents, your emails. So any data that does pull through into those table types will then pull through to your information in LEAP, like so. Thank you, Emma.
I think we can leave it there. And like I said, we have these questions here. We can look through these and reach out to to the people who have watched this webinar and speak to them independently. And also on this last slide, for more information about LEAP, there is Jamie's email address, and for information about Settify, there is the marketing@Settify email address. So that way, anyone who has anything outstanding or anything further to find out, please contact us via those addresses.
Yeah. Also, just before we wrap things up, if you are an existing LEAP user, I know I saw a number of questions come in about how do I bundle if I use LEAP. Please reach out to Settify directly. If you're a Settify user that's interested in LEAP or you don't use LEAP, please contact Jamie directly. And if you've got any questions and you're not sure, contact both of us. It's absolutely fine.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both.
No problem. We might wrap it up there. Once again, thank you all very much for your fabulous questions and for tuning in this afternoon. It was my absolute pleasure to present Settify, the bundling and the integration with LEAP to you, and I'm sure it was Jamie's pleasure to show you all LEAP.
It was. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.